Hey everyone, it's Anya with the Season of Anya, and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things yoga, magic, and witchcraft with a little sprinkle of a healing journey along the way. Today's episode is continuing my Witchcraft for Beginner series with 13 tips for the beginner witch. Things I wish I knew, things that helped me along the way. I also have some tidbits from my fellow Coven members, so be sure to stay tuned for the whole thing so you can get some perspective from other witches. I got my notes. All right, tip number 1 for the beginner witch. Understand the moon cycles and start working with them. You don't need to know all the specifics. You don't need to know if it's a full moon in Aries, a new moon in Leo, but the 3 moons that you should really familiarize yourself with: full moon, dark moon, and new moon. I believe I have a video for that somewhere, so if not, I have a blog post, so I'll link some information somewhere. It's not about knowing everything all at once. It's about knowing the fundamentals. Once you know the basic concepts for those moons, which is super easy, I promise. Other than that, this is still part of tip number 1 because I love to be extra thorough. Consistently show up and consistently show up for each moon cycle, period. Whether it's just connecting with the moon's energy, whether it's reflecting, whether it's journaling, whether it is creating a spell or doing a little yoga magic. Connect with each moon cycle and do it consistently. When we are working with the ebbs and flows of nature and, kind of these more pagan paths and whatnot, it's a lot to understand. It took me a couple years before I really understood what this spiritual practice is about. And that's okay. That's not to deter you, but it's more so to encourage you all to start and to keep going. If you miss a moon cycle, it's fine. That's great, in fact, because I say it's great because as long as you hop back on and show up for the next one and connect with that moon's energy, even if it's a month or 2, but you keep finding yourself, letting spirit guide you back, that's what it's about. It's okay if it's not about perfection. It's not about knowing everything. It's about consistency. And when we fall off, it's about getting right back on. Take the time to reflect under the moon cycle. And really, when you're showing up for those moons, you are showing up for yourself. So show up and do it. That's where the healing happens. That's where the magic happens. Tip number 2. Ready? Embrace both light and dark witchcraft. Now, before you say, I want to embrace dark witchcraft, but just hang on there for a minute. Kind of goes with my previous point about connecting with each moon cycles. Dark witchcraft is not necessarily cursing people and evil. It's definitely not evil and hexing and all this. It's connecting with our shadows, people. We're talking shadow work. We're talking shadow work journal prompts. We are talking about things in our past that we have either done or have had done to us that make us uncomfortable, that make us cry, that make us hurt, that fill us with pain. Those things we just don't want to talk about, the things that we've ignored for so many years but are still inside of us, that's embracing dark witchcraft. But here's the thing, when we work within our shadows and address our shadows, we are able to release those shadows. That was my number 1 thing that I did not understand when I joined my coven, who was very much in that dark witch energy. But boy, let me tell you, because I embrace both light witchcraft and dark witchcraft, I was able to become complete, whole, and most importantly, balanced, because I understood that my light and my dark complement one another. And in order to appreciate my light and to embrace in the light, I have to embrace and appreciate and release the dark. Tip number 3. Get your butt out in nature. Oh, Lord, I gotta remind myself of that too. Get out in nature. Do it. Nature. I mean, it's a natural-based religion. I mean, nature-based religion, right? We follow the moon cycles. We listen to the ebbs and flows. We observe the patterns of nature and apply them to our lives. So get out there. Go on walks. I talk about it all the time. I love my spiritual walks. In fact, I'm kind of due for one. But get out there. The magic of getting out in nature is to appreciate the nature that's all around you. During COVID, I remember I live in kind of, there are pockets of my little neighborhood that are great and others that are a little sketchy. Find the beauty that's around you. If you are in a sketchy part of town that's kind of covered in trash, find that little flower, look there, find the pocket of sunshine that you can connect with, that you can be grateful for. I kid you not, especially when I'm having, maybe a downer day or just trying to get out of my head, I will make a point to appreciate every little piece of nature, whether I'm looking at a flower and just taking a moment to be like, wow, that's beautiful. If that's all I can say, then that's great. Feel the sun, feel the breeze. Even honestly, if it's raining, get your ass out in the rain and just embrace it for a few minutes. If it's, you can go home right after and take a shower. Just step out on your porch and just feel nature. Appreciate nature. And not to sound like a hippie little yoga witch, become one with nature. But we're all one. Tip number 4, start your book of shadows. Start it. I have a whole video about what is a book of shadows, but basically it's a spiritual text of all things that you're interested in. So if you're interested in crystals, you put crystals in there. If you have spells, put spells in there. If you have information that you've learned now about the moon cycles, put it in your book of shadows. Work with one. Your book of shadows can even be a journal. Your book of shadows could be an art journal, whatever it is. Hold on. All right, I'm still here. Because we're not even halfway through, fam. Whatever it is, connect with it, create it, just start it. You can always, make it prettier. You don't need to be a plethora of knowledge all at once. It's amazing how sometimes just taking that first step is all it takes. It's okay if it's ugly. If you really are like, it's so pretty, I don't want to mess it up. Get a notebook of shadows, just a little scrapbook. That way you are retaining and learning new information and growing. That's how spiritual development happens. That's how spiritual healing happens. Yeah, we'll stop there on that one. This is a good one. Find your authentic voice. Don't be agreeable all the time. Nah, don't. It's okay I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on YouTube, but it's okay to be a bitch once in a while. As long as you do it with love. I'm not talking like, just cussing people out and saying mean things. I'm talking, if in your heart, you know what you're saying is true, and you know it's going to make other people mad, be authentic to that. This practice of spirituality and witchcraft is not about reading what's in a book, reciting it, and believing it. It's about, how do you feel? How do you feel when you stand under a full moon? How do you feel when you get out in nature? How do you feel about anything? It's you. It's about you about you. That's what makes it an authentic practice. That's what's real witchcraft is all about. Real witches, real witchcraft, real authentic voice. Tip number 6, learn to meditate efficiently. All that I mean from that is meditating efficiently is simply getting into headspace, shutting off the brain, doing it, and getting out. If you can efficiently meditate for even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that is so much better than trying to get into headspace for an hour and not. Again, shocker, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes consistency, but just like anything, our brain is a muscle, it's an organ, whatever the heck it is, but we are able to train it and mold it, and it's a skill. It's essentially a skill. So, in order to get to level 10 guru Zen master, I'm not there yet, don't you worry. In order to get there, we have to start. And it's okay, thoughts are going to happen. Meditation takes a very, very, very long time to practice. But as soon as you think a thought, acknowledge that thought, release that thought, and try to just get back to present. Breath work and yoga has helped a lot with that too. Just saying. Tip number 7, I'm not going to go into super detail about it because I feel like I talk about it all the time, but learn the chakra system. Do it. I'm telling you, spiritual healing happens with the chakra system. Be a good yoga witch, learn the chakra system, reflect and meditate on gaps that you have in your life by understanding each chakra, journey with each chakra, sit in that energy, dedicate a week, a month, a year if you have to one chakra and see where the voids are, where the gaps are. All right, we're on the 2nd page. We're getting somewhere now. Number 8, practice yoga. I mean, come on. That's kind of what this channel is about too. But seriously, practice yoga. It's helped me so much in getting out of my head. It has helped me so much to being in my body. And more importantly, it's connected me so much to my feelings. Witchcraft and yoga seriously go hand in hand. Yoga, while very spiritual, is very grounded. Witchcraft, while very grounded, is very spiritual. Being able to kind of merge those two worlds has been magical. I'm just saying. Especially as an empath, it helped me learn how to stay in my own body and not take on other people's energy. When we are thinking about yoga, we often talk about, one line of energy, right? So even if your legs are up the wall, and you're just laying on your back, one line of energy, right? From your legs to the L shape of your head, one line of energy. It allows you to detach from the BS. It allows you to be present. And let me tell you, as somebody who is always in some kind of state of fight or flight, projected as a very bubbly person, being able to learn how to actually be in my own energy has completely changed my world. So learn some yoga, witches. Number 9. Yes, number 9. Find a community to be a part of. I really, 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 really implore you to find a community to be a part of. They are everywhere. But here's the thing. It may be scary. It may be intimidating. If you can get out in person and find a coven or find a group of yogis or whatever it is, just find a group of practitioners to be a part of, it'll change your world. I had no idea really at its core what witchcraft was until I learned about the practice through my high priestess, Taryn, through other Coven members, and through engaging. And the thing with talking about other people, kind of in line with finding your own authentic voice, pick up on what resonates with you. It doesn't mean just because somebody's talking about it doesn't mean you have to do it. But at the same time, just say you're curious about working with deities, or you're curious about crystals. When you hear other people have a conversation about working with deities or working with crystals or even spells, it's like, oh, so that's what they're talking about. That resonates. That makes sense. Because a lot of times, especially like on witchtok and other, there are plenty of great content creators on spirituality and specifically on witchcraft, but there's so much misinformation out there. Witchcraft is not what you think it is. If I could just like plaster that, like hand somebody a card and say, hey, I'm a witch, it's not what you think it is. And that's kind of what I've learned through working with the Coven. It's amazing. And if you live in kind of a rural area, a remote area, there are online covens. There are plenty. So my friends at House of Witchcraft have one. Check it out. Find one that resonates and connects with you. And guess what? Show up, and show up consistently. All right, we got 3 more. Well, I guess 4 more. We're on number 10. These are from my Coven members, my fellow Moon Tribe. All right, I love this one. Love is the most powerful magic of all. Love for the mother, love for others, but most importantly, love for yourself. That is from Miss Belladonna. How beautiful is that? Love always finds a way. As long as we vibrate at the frequency of love, we will attract what is meant for us. Number 11. Not everyone's magic is the same. There's not one recipe book for everyone. I can't tell you what will work for you, but I can tell you what works for me. Again, that authentic voice. Thank you, Phoenix, for that one. And it is so true. It's okay if you hear something that somebody says and you pick up with, maybe you only take 5% of it and mold it into your own. That's okay. There's not one book. It is so, all of this practice is so subject to interpretation. Interpret it as you want so you can make it yours. Number 12. Trusting my intuition. The never-ending struggle. Change is so scary and we doubt ourselves so much, but we learn how to make magic our own. Sorry to the girl in the past. I'm glad she got through it all. And that is from my sweet moon sister, Lenny. Thank you for these earrings, by the way. Man, trusting your intuition. I feel like with witchcraft, once you start getting on what I like to call tracks, you'll quotes, but like tracks, things just start clicking. It's like, oh, and now I'm on this railroad track and I know exactly where I'm going. That's how cultivating an intuition practice was for me. It's like once you feel that connection and understand what's your intuition, like say compared to an intrusive thought or an illogical thought or a thought that is logical but doesn't necessarily resonate with you, learning what that feeling of your intuition is amazing. And again, that goes back into how we feel. The more we understand how we feel as witches, as yoga witches, we're able to create magic. And I don't know, I like to think make the world a better place. And last but not least, lucky number 13. This one is from Miss Lilith. Miss Lilith. You'll see her in a future video here in a couple months. So, patience. Patience. The knowledge will come and continue throughout life. There aren't specific steps you need to be legitimate. There aren't specific steps you need to be legitimate in your own craft. Let your journey show itself. In the beginning, a lot of people think that they have a straight path to walk, but that's not how life and magic works. Isn't that beautiful? I got nothing more to say to that. So, thank you all for watching. If you've made it this far, I'd like to know, did any of these tips resonate? What tips do you have for beginner witches, for those starting their learning witchcraft? I'd love to know. Share with the community so we can grow from one another. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the Season of Anya. I'm so grateful for you all. So much love and gratitude to you all on this journey of spiritual healing. Namaste.